Planned stakeholder management is the process of developing appropriate management strategies to effectively engage stakeholders throughout the project lifecycle, based on the analysis of their needs, interests, and potential impact on project success. Stakeholder engagement throughout the life cycle of the project is critical to project success. It's important that there be a good relationship between project team members and other stakeholders so that mutual needs and requirements can be satisfied. The key benefit of this process is that it provides a clear, actionable plan to interact with project stakeholders to support the project's interests. As the project progresses, the membership of the stakeholder community and required level of engagement may change. Therefore, stakeholder management planning is an iterative process that is reviewed on a regular basis by the project manager. In this video, I'll cover the ITTOs for the planned stakeholder management process. Now, these are all the ITTOs that you've seen before, so I won't explain each one in detail. The key inputs in this process include the project management plan. Since it includes important information such as an overview of how work will be executed to accomplish the project's objectives, description of how human resource requirements will be met, including roles and responsibilities and reporting relationships on the project. Next, stakeholder register, which includes a list of the stakeholders and respective information about them, so we can develop a strategy to engage them on the project. The tools and techniques are expert judgment. With expert judgment, the project manager can leverage the knowledge of key team members as well as best practices within the organization to determine the level of engagement required at each stage of the project from each stakeholder. For example, at the beginning of the project, it may be necessary for senior stakeholders to be highly engaged in order to clear away any obstacles to success. Once the obstacles have been removed, it may be sufficient for senior stakeholders to change their level of engagement from leading to supportive, and then increase the level of engagement of the end users, since at a certain stage of the project, their involvement becomes more important. Meetings with subject matter experts and the project team can be very helpful to define the required engagement levels of the identified stakeholders. Analytical techniques. It is often helpful to compare the current level of engagement of the various stakeholders on the project to the planned engagement levels required for successful project completion. Let's review the Stakeholder Engagement Assessment Matrix here. This is a useful tool for documenting the current engagement levels of stakeholders. For each stakeholder, we want to assess the current engagement level and desired engagement level based on the current phase of the project and available information. If we need to drive engagement, we may need to further communicate with them and take some additional actions to move them to the desired level of engagement. The key outputs are Stakeholder Management Plan. This is a component of the project management plan. It identifies the management strategies required to effectively engage stakeholders. This plan can be formal or informal, highly detailed or broadly framed, depending on the needs of the project. With the information you have gathered on the stakeholders, you can develop a plan to manage these individuals. Essentially, it's an art to understand the players involved and develop strategies to manage them. The other outputs are project management updates. For example, it would include desired and current engagement levels of key stakeholders, scope and impact of change to the stakeholders, stakeholder communication requirements for the current project phase, and information to be distributed to the stakeholders, including language, format, content, and, of course, level of detail.